The great Keith Sayers, I really appreciate you joining me. It's pretty cool sitting here talking to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. I've been telling people for a while now that, when you have a son, you want to be your son's first hero. Thanks to you, I didn't have my son be my first hero because he heard of this guy named Keith Sayers doing jumps and flips and everything. And the funny story was, I think, was it 2010, the Sparkies, when you're jumping Sparky's garage?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So he's 2 years old, almost three, turned three in November that year. And we went down to Bannock to the Bannock days or for something in Bannock, and we gold mined and all that stuff. And then we stopped. I said, "Where do you guys want to go eat?" And we'll stop in Dillon and eat. And used to be fighting where, oh, we're going to McDonald's. We're going here. They've got to have a toy. And I said, well, how about we go to Sparky's? Grady said, "There's a Sparky's in Dillon." And so we went to Sparky's and we get out of the car and Grady starts running up. He goes, "I'll bet Keith Sayers is here."
That's awesome.
I think he was disappointed. I thought you'd be in your motocross uniform and your bike right
Just
in the
hanging
middle.
out.
Yeah,
That's great.
but you had that impact on a lot of kids, though. That had to be kind of a cool feeling to know that so many little kids looked up to you and wanted, kind of like probably like you looked up to Robbie Knievel. Maybe I don't know if you're not old enough to remember Evil jumping, but
Yeah,
yes,
I don't remember Evil jumping. The one of the first like motorcycle things I ever actually saw was when Robbie jumped at Brooks Hannah when it was over on Harrison by the
yeah.
gym in the rental stop or store
I
there.
think he broke his wrist on that day, didn't he?
I think he did
Yeah,
crash, but yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, like Evil Days was such an amazing part of my life, and especially in like the beginning stages of my career as well.
yeah.
To be able to, do an event in my hometown that was as legendary to like, Evil Knievel. I mean, still to this day, it's so cool when people are always like, "Where are you from?" And I say Butte, Montana, and they're like, "Oh, hometown Evil Knievel." And
Yeah.
it's yes, hometown Evil Knievel. So yeah, I think a lot of kids sat on the hillside, inspired, no different than, I was the same way.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty
That,
pretty amazing.
yeah, that probably gives you instant cred in that industry when you're jumping bikes and stuff to be from the same hometown as Evil and
Well,
Robbie.
the funniest story about Evil is when I started riding, like Alicia and I, like during high school, were really good friends, and it was funny because I'll never forget the day that he called me. He like I just kind of started doing like events and started, making some money
Yeah.
riding and stuff. And I was on Harrison Avenue right by the coin store across, like just down from Redline Sports now. And yeah, it was unavailable phone call and it was hello, he's like, Keith, yeah, this is Evil Knievel, and I'll never forget. Just stopped
Yeah.
dead in my tracks. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he is a legend, and he helped kind of create what I've been able to carry on doing still to this day. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's got to be pretty amazing to think that he watched you, liked what you did, and he really liked having you be part of the Evil Days.
Yeah, I mean, he came to my house actually when I lived over on Yale there, and watched me ride. But like, he would give me some business advice and things like that, which I mean, he was a heck of a salesman. To promote and do like
Oh boy.
what he did, it's pretty amazing. So, um, yeah, it's really amazing for me to, I mean, this is my 20th year riding dirt bikes for a living. Um, it's pretty cool, like following in the footsteps of a guy like that rode motorcycles from the same small town.
Yeah. 20
Yeah,
years you've been doing this, huh?
yeah,
Now I read something today. I was just looking up some stuff because I know enough about your career that I didn't have to do a lot of research, but I thought I'd read a few stories. But I found a story that said that you bought your first motorbike for $10.
I did.
That's
Yeah,
that's a pretty good deal. Did it
yeah.
run?
I mean, it was definitely no. But the coolest part about the whole thing is I bought it from my neighbor. It didn't run. It was a 1980 Yamaha MX-80. My dad he is like a great mechanic. So I got a great lesson on how to work on the motorcycle. Like we refurbished the whole entire bike, and it was just father son kind of thing. I
Yeah.
like to be able to do something like that. And I was huge into baseball. Like I honestly wanted to play professional baseball, and yeah, one of my buddies, Trent Vigas, he had a motorcycle, just lived down the street, and I rode it one day, and I was like, I don't want to play baseball anymore.
No
And
kid, just that fast.
middle of All Stars, I was doing like 2 a day practices and everything, and like Brad Conway and Brian Moe and Trent, everybody, they were always out riding and stuff, and I had to go to baseball practice, and I wanted to ride dirt bikes, and I came home from practice, and I told my mom, I'm like, hey, I don't want to play baseball anymore. And like it was my whole life. Like
Yeah.
I dedicated my time pitching, catching, like she used to throw the ball up to me and I'd hit it into the fence. Like we lived by the Hawthorne school, So
Yeah.
um like it was everything. But I just the second I rode a dirt bike, it just changed my whole life. And it's so funny too because a lot of coaches and parents, Bill Osborne, for example, he called my parents and was like, you can't let him quit. Like this is insane to ride motorcycles. And I saw him on the golf course last summer, and he come up to me, and Zach and I, we grew up together, so I spent a lot of time with him. But he come up to me and he's like, I honestly thought your parents were absolutely out of their mind to let you quit baseball.
Yeah.
And he's like, and here you still are riding dirt bikes for a living. Yeah, I mean, it worked out, right? But
Yeah.
I just had no other option. Like that's always I've always been is like when I'm into something, it's just like 110%.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's and when I watch you looking through your baseball, all kinds of, you're a good pitcher. You hit the ball well, according to Little League write-ups that I was reading. And then I
yep,
found, speaking to Zach Osborne, Chief Osborne here in Butte
yeah,
now.
yeah.
I saw that, I think it was fourth grade track meet where he's getting first and you were third or fourth. And I was just looking at some of those names in that, just such great athletes in that, just in that track meet that did a
Jake
lot of good things.
Larson.
Yeah, Jake was there.
I mean, I grew up with all those kids. Like those just went to Hillcrest, and they were all my. I mean, Curtis Cooney, like wrestling. I mean, yeah, just I mean, I was surrounded by amazing people. It's cool to see people like Zach and stuff still like so many kids did great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you graduate, was it in '01 with those guys?
2000.
That's getting to be a few years ago now. It doesn't seem. I remember
I don't
watching
like talking about it.
I remember when Conan O'Brien kept talking about the year 2000 back in 1993, and we
Yeah.
thought it was pretty funny.
I know, right?
Now
Yeah.
it's in the past. Did your dad ride motorbikes or anything?
Oh,
It was
my
just a
dad.
friend, huh?
Yeah, just a friend. He had motorcycles. Like he built a chopper it was so cool as a kid seeing it. But my dad he's such an amazing. Like right now, he's building this 1932 hot rod, and
Really?
I mean that's just his thing. Like I learned everything in life. Like I can remember being a little kid, honestly, and over at the Roberts warehouse, he owned his own trucking company, and I mean, I spent the majority of the beginning part of my life in a truck sleeper, driving truck, and my grandpa did it, he did it. I had my Class A CDL. I got it when I got my B when I was 18, and then I got my A when I was 21. But I was like, I still have it, but I'm like, I didn't want to be like another truck driver. I wanted to do something different,
Yeah.
but I did. I learned so much from him on when it come to hard work. Like I can remember being in the Roberts over there where they, Hall or Jeffries is at now. I can remember him like changing tires, like steer tires on his semi truck when I was a little
Oh,
kid,
really?
like watching him just knuckles bleeding, just changing them by hand. And like, so I didn't know any different, like he taught
Yeah.
me you want something, just you got to work for it.
That's great. And, my parents, I always wanted to ride a motorbike. I was Evel Knievel and Robbie Knievel riding around the
Oh, yeah.
hill up here, but my mom convinced me that I would be dead if I had a motorbike, and they had a healthy fear of them. And I've still never really even ridden a motorcycle, but you got into dirt bikes and riding dirt bikes, but there's a big jump between, I guess, literally a big jump between just riding dirt bikes and racing. to doing a flip in the air, letting go of the handlebars and all that stuff that you guys do.
Yeah, it's doing like I can remember the first backflip I did, it was 2004. I drove to Wisconsin and spent a day in a foam pit. It was funny because Gavin and I, when we moved, we were like going through all the boxes and I found some like old VHS tapes and stuff. And he's like, what are these things? And it's so funny, like your kids,
Yeah.
so many things that they miss out on in life, like even CDs. Like they were like,
Yeah.
what is this?
Yeah.
Um, so we put it, and I had a VCR, so we put them in. We started watching like some were my old motocross videos and stuff. And I found a video of me doing my very first backflip into the foam pit and landing on my head upside down, like the first four or five, and then I finally figured it out. And then it rained for 3 days, and I drove all the way home and did my first one in 2004. So that was 21 years ago. I did my first backflip.
Yeah.
Um, and like talk about, especially 21 years ago, right? Like it
Hmm.
was just not a lot of people were really doing it at that time, but um, yeah, it's just wild to think, from riding a dirt bike to to doing a backflip and going upside down on it. And like now, 21 years later, I can't even imagine honestly how many I've done. Like Calgary Stampede alone in 10 days, I do almost 400 backflips in 10 days. So,
No kidding.
and this was my 15th year in a row there. So, I like if I could have the stats and the numbers, like a lot of the new kids that I'm bringing up and that I have ride for me and everything, I always tell them like keep track of how many plane flights you're on this year. Like I'm a crazy like number statistic guy, and I'm
Yeah.
like, how many gallons of gas did I burn at the Calgary
Yeah.
Stampede? Like even one year, every jump, like it was like can't remember what I did, like 600 jumps off of the ramp at 75 feet, and I added it all up and figured out how many miles I was in the air.
No kidding.
Yeah, so
That goes
I
back to the
just
baseball roots there. Numbers, right?
exactly.
Yeah, every baseball guy's all you got to love certain numbers mean something. Same
That's
kind of
right.
deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you started racing fairly soon after that. You got your bike when were you 12 when you got your bike, or was 12 when you first
Yeah.
raced?
12 was the first bike, and then I didn't race. I bought my second bike probably my dad and I fixed up that bike, and then I sold it, and then I mowed lawns, shoveled sidewalks, and cleaned the Hawthorne School for like 2 more years and saved up money. And I bought a bike from Louis Sudi, and
Yeah. Great
then I
Louis
went to
Sudi. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and then I raced one race that first year, and that bike was literally such a piece of crap. Like I learned
Yeah.
more on how to rebuild those things and everything,
Yeah.
like another lesson learned, right? So
Yeah.
um and then yeah, so that was probably like 93. I did my first race because I want to say my bike broke and Brad Conway let me race his bike. So I believe it was 93. So then I got my very first brand new bike. My parents were like, okay, obviously this is what you want to do, and they bought me a brand new bike in 1995.
Yeah.
So
And
I was a late bloomer, I mean, like my son, he rode his first dirt bike with no training wheels, like a little electric bike in the grass, and I mean, he wasn't even 2 years old. Yeah, he was like 22 months old, and like
wow.
yeah, he has a huge
Yeah.
head start on me.
And Brad had I think he had a big head start on you as well, didn't he? He rode bikes for longer than you.
He did, and Brad honestly, I learned the good majority of all riding from him. Like he was, I mean, I idolized him, as a kid, and
Yeah, because
he
what he's a few years older than you, right?
he is, yeah. So he, yeah, I mean, Jay, like Montana motocross, like that was our thing. Like we had our Butte group, Johnny
Yeah.
Larango and the Conways and the Kernos. Like it was the weekend thing that we used to do. And Brad taught me a lot about riding dirt bikes.
Yeah. And those were mostly races then though, right? Just
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
races. Were they timed or were they group races or
Yeah. So it's, a gate drop and then it's just whatever placing finish. Like you do back then it was like timing. Now it's like when my son races, he does 5 laps or 7 laps on, so
yeah.
how many laps you actually have to do.
Yeah. When
Hmm.
did you figure out, man, I can do this for a living. I don't have to drive a truck. I can because when you were 15 or so and you're racing, there wasn't like a big it's not like there was a major league league for you to go into and race like there was in baseball or other sports. You kind of had to create your own little niche there, or join kind of a
Yeah.
unique deal there.
So I graduated in '01. Freestyle motocross kind of started like even when I was on my 80, which was probably like 96, 97. The Krusty Demons, the dirt videos came out, and like Mike Metzger doing heel clickers in the sand dunes and things like
Yeah.
that. Um, I had a jump kind of right by the high altitudes, speed skating center there, and
Yeah.
that's where I learned how to do heel clickers on an 80 in like 96. So um, then it kind of just turned into every time I was on a motocross track and like the jumps were really big, like I would watch all the videos, right? And you'd
Yeah.
see these guys doing the tricks. I'm like, oh, I think I can do that. And then there used to be a track on the side of the highway over in Bozeman, like Belgrade area, and had a lot of really big jumps. And then I started doing like no footed cans. And then as freestyle kind of evolved, um, the first event that I did where I actually made money was at the rodeo grounds right by Yates Body Shop.
Really?
Yeah, so it was
The old
arena
rodeo
cross.
grounds, huh?
Yeah, it was an arena cross race. So I was racing, and then they were doing halftime freestyle shows. So I was competed against like Cowboy Kenny Bartram. He was like the headliner kind of guy of the whole
Yeah.
thing. And I'll never forget, I still actually have a photo of me doing a heel clicker, and I had like sparklers on my boots,
Well,
like tied rubber boots. Yeah.
that's
Um,
pretty cool.
yeah. So that was probably 97. Um, and then like the freestyle, like they started just doing like intermission like shows over the finish line jumps and stuff. And I did my very first show like off of a ramp in the Civic Center, and that was in 2002 for a monster truck show. And yeah, I made a little bit of money, and then they wanted me to go on the road, and my mom's like, "You're not joining the circus." Like, so then I honestly didn't have a motorcycle for like 2 years. Like
Really?
I was working for Pepsi, and that's yeah, I just kind of got
Did
a
you have to work
girlfriend.
with Brandon Scown?
Yeah. Yeah.
Poor
Yeah.
guy.
All right. Um, so yeah, then I got back into it again, and it's yeah, been
So you kind of were walking away from it then.
yeah, it's like a tough transition, like riding dirt bikes. I was talking to one of my friends today about that actually. Like if you're not on that like path to being a professional level, like
Yeah.
motocrosser, when you get your driver's license and you get a job and like that 16, 17-year-old kind of age is it girls come into play, like just
Yeah.
life kind of just changes in general, right? And if you're not on the path of like becoming like a top kind of guy or even like that level guy at all, um you just kind of quit. And like that's what his like the guy I was talking to today, his son, they were all in racing, but like on a Montana level, it's fun, it's great times with your family and all the above. And um then they just you come home one day and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. So and that's kind of where I was at. I was like, well, I want to work, and I just I had to work on the
Yeah.
weekends at Pepsi, and I just kind of quit riding. And then believe it or not, 2002 Evel Knievel Days, they did the first freestyle show. They jumped in front of the park uptown, and then they jumped in front of town pump. And they kind of like bounced all around, right?
Yeah.
And Steve Miller, who owns SCS out of Bozeman, he like was running the company, and he was on doing the freestyle shows. And I went up to the fence, like I get a lot of times nowadays. So,
Yeah.
hey, how do I get in? Like, how can I get into doing this? And so Evil Knievel Days kind of started it for me
No
and kind of
kidding.
opened that door. Um, yeah, and then he, of course, he just came with, oh yeah, yeah, no. And then probably I don't know, it was maybe a month later, I get a phone call, and it was him, and he's like, hey, he's like, I talked to a bunch of people, and they say you got a ton of bike skill, and you can jump like ramps and everything. He's like, why don't you start coming over every day when you're done working? And he had a ramp set up over in Bozeman. So I would go to work every morning at Pepsi at like 4 a.m. and I was on salary, so I would work. And like if I get my work done at like 10 or 11, I was done for the day and I would
Oh,
still get
nice.
paid for my 8 hours, right?
Yeah.
So I would drive to Bozeman every single day. And then I would go and I would ride all night and I would drive home and then go to work at 4 a.m. again. Like that was like my routine.
Long days.
It was long days, but big goals in mind of like what I wanted to accomplish and knowing, you know, sometimes, if you want something, you gotta
Yeah.
I mean, even what I go through still to this day, like my travel schedule and like what I'm doing. I mean, most people would probably think that I'm like on drugs with driving all day and
Yeah.
like and half the time I'm so delirious and exhausted and from flights and getting off a flight and riding and flying home and then drive like it's nonstop, right? And
Yeah.
but I knew that that was kind of the thing, and then he helped build a ramp, and I bought my property on Yale, and we built a ramp, and so then I didn't have to go there, and I was just practicing every day in the backyard.
Yeah. And then you built your own pit then?
Yeah, I did. I built so I was only flipping a 40-foot jump in 2004, so 75 feet's obviously what we jump, and there wasn't a lot of guys at the time actually doing 75 feet. So I built a foam pit and I drove out to Seattle 3 times and loaded up trailers full of foam. And I even drove all the way to freaking Nebraska one time and bought like
Really?
off of eBay. I bought foam blocks from like a trampoline park that was going out of business. And
You had to pick them up though, huh?
yeah, I had to pick them up. So I borrowed a trailer, like a 30-foot enclosed trailer, and drove all the way out there and loaded them up. And I mean, that was on a weekend. I still had to be to work on Monday morning at Pepsi. So and I tried honestly for forever to, because I didn't want to turn riding dirt bikes into a job. I wanted it to be fun, still
Yeah.
like enjoyable. And so I fought it as long as I possibly could and working for Pepsi as long as I could until I broke my wrist. And then it was like I was messing up people's vacation time and it was just kind of selfish on my part. And I just finally went in one day and I was like, I was hurt and I couldn't work. So I went in and quit. And
Yeah.
that was a commitment of that, okay, there's no other option, right? And then, you know, bring kids into the picture. It's like, I gotta feed them and keep a roof over their head. So
Yeah.
it's just grind, grind, grind. And a lot of people in my family even sometimes don't understand it. Of like, if I say no, somebody else will say yes, and then you become forgotten. So it's extremely difficult for me to say no to a lot of things.
Yeah.
Um, and that's why sometimes my travel schedule just gets crazy. And thank God my wife is amazing and
Yeah.
such a saint as she is to be able to deal with everything else.
Yeah. You married a McGinnis girl.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Nice Irish girl.
Yeah. She if I honestly, I think if I didn't meet her, I would never. I know for a fact I wouldn't be where I'm at today. There's not even
Yeah.
a question in my mind. Like she sat in the backyard every day, just telling me what my tricks looked like. And I mean, we didn't have cell phones to like video and all that kind of stuff back then, right? So we had
Yeah.
video cameras, and she'd film me, and like she'd run the crane on the foam pitches. Her and I like trying to learn how to flip 75 feet. And still to this day, like she runs the business side of it. She keeps all the, you know, taxes and paperwork. And I would be a complete disaster because I always tell her, I'm like, hey, I'll put the money in the bank account. You got to handle the rest. you
So
know,
when did you guys get married?
this year was 17 years. So it was
Oh,
2009 when we got married.
okay. Sorry, I should have
16.
told you I was going to ask you that question just in case you didn't
Oh,
know. I
no,
didn't want to get in trouble.
you got to make me think. I mean, it's pretty easy. I bumped my head a handful of times, but
Yeah.
2009 when we got married, I broke my leg. So it's pretty easy for me to remember
Yeah.
that one.
Well, you must have, you probably nowhere near Evel Knievel, but you've had a lot of broken bones, I'd imagine,
Um,
over the years. Because I think the Sparky's garage deal, because you broke your wrist that day, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I tore some stuff in my shoulder, and
Oh, it was just
then
shoulder injury. Huh?
yeah, but the biggest one with that one was the concussion.
Yeah.
I was,
Oh, they're
and
miserable.
I've had 11 concussions. So
Wow.
I feel I've hit my head more than I've broke my bones. And that's like the one thing for me is like I think if I were to quit, and everybody always asks, right? I mean, I'm 43 years old, and they're like, "What? How much longer can you do this for?" Right? And
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, like I don't really have any. I still love riding my dirt bike.
Yeah.
I love performing for people and entertaining thousands of people. It's something that's extremely hard to explain to a lot of people, like the rush that you get. Still to this day, I mean, this year I think I'll ride like over 30 events myself. So it's something I love so much, and
Yeah.
I just have a hard time ever like thinking about letting that part of it go. But when it comes to injury wise, I want to walk away from the sport healthy would be like the most ideal thing.
Yeah.
The head injury thing, it's tough
Yeah.
because
That's like Troy Aikman level of concussions. 11 of them are, that's a lot of
yeah, and
concussions.
I have a friend. I mean, I try really hard to stay on top of like health stuff.
Yeah.
43, like that's all I've been doing. Like right now, building a gym and like a golf simulator room. That's like been my project. I've been home for 3 days and just finished painting the walls and stuff today.
Even when you
So
come home and you told me you had some free time and then sounds like you found a way to fill up that free time so it wasn't so free.
my free time is yeah about like an hour a day to be honest with you. So like
Yeah.
I get up in the mornings and I do my normal routine of kind of getting everything going, and then especially having like my son that's riding at the level he is right now, and
Yeah.
maintaining his dirt bikes is just a job in itself, like trying to keep him rolling and then me rolling and everything. um but yeah, like health is something that I just 43, like I'm still super limber and in shape, and like I just you know want to keep it that way. So
Yeah. Do you have to, you must have to lift weights, do a lot of working out just to keep all your muscles ready to,
well,
because
that's why I'm building. It's been a tough kind of transition this last little bit. I had that at the old house, but this one, um, I just it's in my schedule too. Like to be honest with you, being run down like as I am, but I do try to work out, and like riding as much as I do, to be honest, kind of keeps me in shape the most part. But
yeah.
as I'm getting older, like that's why I'm building the gym and putting everything in here so I can like have the opportunity to do it every day instead of
Yeah.
like using the excuse like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym today. I don't want, that's what's so funny when I think about that kind of stuff. I mean, how many hours do we spend on a cell phone looking at Instagram and Facebook and everything? And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't have time to work out. Like, pretty poor excuse for me.
I'd be embarrassed if I showed off my when I get that report at the end of the night how many hours you're on in a day. I don't want anyone to see how many
Well,
time
it's
how
funny
I spent
because
scrolling.
yeah, I'm such a fanatic about it, and like I try, like even when you message me on Facebook, like I try so hard not to look at it, and like a lot of
Yeah.
times, especially when I'm home, like when I'm on the road and everything, when I'm flying, like all the time, like I'm in scroll hole like nonstop. So
Yeah.
I don't like coming home and having that transition into my home time. So normally, like when I'm home, I try to just put my phone in the kitchen and just go do my thing that I got to do all day. Because between the emails and the text messages and the phone calls and all
Yeah.
these, like I couldn't get anything done, and so it's just easier for me to kind of at the end of the day fish through and figure out. Like I have 980 unanswered text messages on my phone as of today. Like I mean, and I'll just kind of like read through and figure out which ones are like the most important kind of thing. But
Wow.
the business side of like what I do, it's it's been a lot. So
Yeah. When you talk about the back to that concussion, now I had I thought I had concussions before, but 4 years ago I wrecked my mountain bike, not going very fast behind Tech, that little in
yeah,
bank corners behind Montana Tech. I was just going down there just to get for the exercise, and I broke a displaced fracture of my seventh rib, and I had a concussion, and that was just miserable. Just trying to sit at my computer for 15 minutes to type up a story about the Butte miners back then. It was
yeah,
so tough, and I would lay down and I'd have the TV on, but I would put a washcloth over my eyes for like a week. It was just brutal. So that's a lot to go through. I don't think people realize how
no,
tough concussions can be. It's kind of eye opening for me.
yeah. I've been through some pretty bad ones to be honest. And the forgetful side of things for me is kind of like the hardest part, I think.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why just I'm just huge on notes on my phone and all the above, because I still like, even like the Sparkies one, I still wanted to jump that night. The doctor that I had here, he's from Cleveland, and he was like, I've never seen somebody be knocked out for almost a minute and come to and be like coherent. Like, he's like, I could tell that you were fighting so hard because you still wanted to do
Yeah.
it. And like, of course, I'm sitting there going like, where am I? What am I doing? What happened? You know,
Yeah.
but then I'd be like, oh, I did this, and just trying so hard to fight through it because I still
Yeah.
wanted to do it so bad. Um, but yeah, there's been a lot of times like that, and you know, there's been a lot of times I probably shouldn't be on the dirt bike after a concussion, but you're right. I mean, it's no joke. Like, hitting your head's not good. I mean, I even actually had like a scan up in Canada. A friend that he was actually out hunting and slipped on a rock and hit the back of his head. His wife told me honestly, she's like, I thought for sure I was gonna come home and he was gonna be dead from suicide because
Well,
he was just so like, and he never really had any sort of like um head injuries before that. So she did this whole thing and like it studied the brain and like put me in a room and hooked me up to all these machines, and you could see like kind of the black spots and everything in my brain, which is pretty wild. So
wow.
yeah.
That's a lot to go through. And so at some point, first Evel Knievel Days was what, around 2002? Is that right?
2002 was the first year they
Yeah,
did
because that was your
freestyle.
Spanky jumped.
Yep.
I think we were introduced to the great Spanky Spangler. So you go
Yep.
so and then you start jumping over in Bozeman, start riding in Bozeman. When did you start with MTV? You were part of the was it the Nitrous Circus? Is that what?
Yeah, Nitro Circus. I mean, I did the first. I
Here
was
I
in
talk about
this.
concussions and I ask you to remember dates
No,
and
no.
times.
Well, it's so funny too because like a lot of the like I have a lot of kids that I've been like grooming. You know, Bobby Duham, who's from Wise River, um, and like we'll go on road trips, going to events and everything, and they always like quiz me and ask me all these questions. Because to be honest with you, not a lot of people really know a lot of the stuff that I really do because I just kind of try to fly under the radar and you
Yeah.
know and do and then they start asking me questions. Well, what about this and this? And then I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that, you know. But I was in this second Nitro Circus movie that they made, and I'll never forget it. There was like a six pack of dirt jumps that were all like 80 feet in a row, like right one after another. And Travis Pastrana is like, I mean, he's just like Evel Knievel
Yeah,
to
he's
be honest.
legendary. Yeah.
So I remember I was the only one that jumped him. There was all these other guys there and nobody would jump him, and I jumped him. And I'm sitting there and I hear this bike coming up and I didn't think anything of it. And like bike pulls up and I turn around and it's Travis. And he's like, hey, he's like, everybody said you're the only one jumping it. Can I tow you in on these and like follow you off of them? And I'm like, uh, uh, you know, um,
Starstruck, huh?
yeah, starstruck. And that was the first time he ever tried the double backflip. Actually, it was the next day up the hill. So Nitro Circus, I've been with them like since kind of the beginning, to be honest. Just over that, it was in Spokane when we did that, and then I did another shoot with them where I like jumped out of the ground and they like it blew me up in the air and I landed going back down in the ground. So and now I actually handle all their events. They
Yeah.
yeah. So when there's any event outside of like the tour, I take care of all of it. Like I'll be at SEMA for them. I'm doing SLS in Vegas on the 25th for them. I do Warp Tour for them. So it's just cool, like to have those kind of connections and you know.
Yeah, and then yeah, you took off on the business side pretty quickly too, because it wasn't that long that you're staring through the fence to try to be one of those guys. To all of a sudden, it's the Keith Sayers is it's your company that's coming and you're bringing these guys and you're bringing crazy people like Heath Frisbee to Butte to
Yeah.
show us and stuff. So it didn't take that long to all of a sudden it was your show.
No, and a lot of that came from my friend over in Bozeman, Steve Miller. He was the kind of the guy that lined out all the shows and everything. And one day at the house, he goes, "This will never work unless it's ran by an athlete." And at that point, I was still like wanting to do X Games and do
Yeah.
tour and like, all this stuff, right? And he's like, I think the best thing for the sport and you right now is to become a businessman. And he's like, I'll help you through all of it. He's like, buy the business from me and take care of it all. And he's like, nobody will ever respect a guy that doesn't jump dirt bikes, that stands on the sidelines, that
Yeah.
says, you need to ride when it's super windy out or it's raining out or any of that. And that's kind of honestly where it all started. And that's why I got to where I'm at, because still to this day, I mean, I'm the first guy that will go out like and jump. If it's too windy, I'll go jump it and test it. Like, and I have people like Axel Hodges and Twitch and like all these guys that are these huge, names and all the above. And like they look to me to see if it's okay and if it's safe to do it as well. And then, you know, when I go out and I do it, then they'll follow suit. Like, so being a rider owned business, like, and I was super shy. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's so funny because everybody's always like, oh yeah, where I'm from, like everybody was tough and everybody fought. And I'm like, I'm I'm from Butte. Like, you just like, I kept my mouth shut all the time, because if you said
Yeah.
the wrong thing to the wrong person, you're probably getting punched in the mouth. And and it's funny because when I first kind of got into the industry, I was quiet and I just kind of feeled the situation out, or the people out, because that's how you almost had to do it. When you go places like parties or whatever, and everybody wanted to fight everybody, like when I was in high school. So I didn't know if I would ever really kind of fit. And Steve even thought that kind of, he's like, you're just too quiet and shy. You need to be more outspoken and
Yeah.
friendly to people. And I'm like, it's taken a lot. And now, I mean, like I go out of my way to be over the top. Like, I love having conversations and sitting down with people and, you know, shooting the shit about what their life's
Yeah.
about or whatever. And, so that's been quite the part of it. Like, you have to be personable to be a businessman.
Yeah. And of course you come to town again thanks to Colt.
Yep.
You guys come
Yep.
and do a show every year during the Dream Big Foundation thing. So your name's still pretty prevalent, but I still miss Evel Knievel Days so bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's there'll never be anything like it. That was probably one of the hardest parts of my, but I learned so much from it too when I stepped away from all that stuff. But
Yeah.
that was one of the harder moments of becoming who I became today.
Yeah. And I remember when that was going down, it was around 13 or 14. I can't remember 2013,
Yeah.
2014 when it was going and somebody said something about negative about you. And I'm like, wait a minute. Hopefully there's not more people saying this. So that's why I wrote a column on Butte Sports back then saying,
Yeah.
hey, this guy, I mean, we're going to his shows for free. And I don't even know what it would, I mean, people pay like you'd be in Seattle in the big arena. People are paying top dollar to sit in nosebleed seats to watch you guys jump. And you're bringing these here and we could watch them not only jump once, but we could watch them twice a day for like 3 days. It
Yeah,
was
with
pretty
and
amazing.
that was like one of those things for me. Evil Days was never about the money for myself. Like, I think it's so funny now because I think of what my budget was, for the whole 3 days of the events now. Like, for what I'm doing now, three riders. I mean, it's hard to, I can't even honestly explain how
Yeah.
cheap and inexpensive it was to put it on, because all the riders and everybody wanted to come to my hometown and just like hang out and
Yeah.
go trail riding at Pipestone and
Yeah.
just experience Evil Days in general. Like, but that show let me be creative and kind of do a lot of things that I don't think I would have ever been able to do, like the three ramps and the snowmobiles and the four wheelers. And to be honest, like when it ended, like I was almost out of options and ideas, because like it's my hometown and I never wanted to just have it just be no, sorry. I didn't want it to
Fall
be
over.
just
Wouldn't
um
be Keith Sayers without a flip, right?
well, just like a show where everybody
Yeah.
goes home going like that was the best show that I've ever
Yeah.
seen. So that last year that we did it, I can honestly say when I went home that night, I was like, and I didn't know it was honestly going to be over from that point on, but I was like going saying to my wife, I'm like, how do I even top this year? You know,
Yeah.
I had like 12 of like the top riders, and I had snowmobiles, and I had four wheelers, and I had everything, and I'm like, how do you one up it kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. It's hard to outdo yourself. And of course, and you bring in like Frisbee's one. You introduced us when we were did our radio show at Metals.
Yeah.
You brought in Frisbee and one of the all-time great characters I've ever talked to.
Yeah.
He's not right in the head. Some of the stuff that
No,
he did.
no. He's toned it down a lot and changed his ways. He quit riding. I think he's like 5 or 6 years now not
Oh,
riding,
really?
and he's built. Believe it or not, he's building houses, which
No
is
kidding.
beyond me. But it's super cool because like he's doing really well. And talk about like the transition of like when to quit doing this. He was like this large as life character on X Games, like doing all this
Yeah.
stuff, and then
All
he
kinds of
quit.
medals in X Games. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a tough transition. Like he went through a lot of changes in life and like some rehab and everything, like drinking, because you're like this somebody, and then all of a sudden one day you're just, he was
Yeah.
selling farm equipment,
Yeah. It's a
and
tough transition, probably.
I think that's where a lot of people kind of, I mean, even celebrities and, like they kind of go down the rabbit hole of drugs and alcohol and all the
Yeah.
above. It's super sad to see, and I'm afraid of that day. Like, but it's great for me because I have such an amazing, like my family and like kind of vicariously living through my kid right now,
Yeah.
like riding dirt bikes, it's like, and the coolest part for me when I say that is like I know the feelings that he has inside, like when he's doing what he's doing, like I know those feelings. So
Yeah.
to keep feeding those feelings, it's such an amazing thing. Like, so yeah, I'm not too concerned about that part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. You bring in him into it. What's he about 11 now?
He just turned 12.
So
Yep.
Gavin, it's Gavin's his name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 12 years old and he's riding. And I read a story in from the Billings Gazette from a few years ago when he was doing a jump. He was doing a backflip, I think, into a foam pit, though, right?
Yep.
Yeah, alongside
Yep.
you guys, you're jumping. That had to be pretty cool because you think of guys doing professional athletes doing their thing. You think of Griffey hitting home
Yeah.
run, back to back home runs with his dad. You think to be able to go out and be with your son when he's doing that, and he gets to do it with you as well. I mean, that's a pretty cool thing that you guys have that.
Yeah, the freestyle part of it was pretty sweet. I mean, he's not really he jumps ramps still here at the house, but like it's not what he's interested. He doesn't want to be me. Like he wants
Oh
to
yeah,
race. He wants to be, Eli Tomac or Jet Lawrence, which I'm totally okay with because, that's what I wanted to do. I just couldn't quite cut the mustard to make it happen,
yeah,
So, I mean, he has a lot of opportunities in the world to make that happen. So it's just still cool. Like even yesterday when we rode, I put red wheels on his bike, just like my bike, and like we wear the same boots and the same pants and the same jersey and the
yeah,
same gloves and the same goggles. Like he's literally like my mini me, So
yeah.
it's super cool for me.
Is he getting pretty tall at 12 now, or is he still pretty
He
small?
is. He's growing like a weed. Not like my daughter. She is literally a
Yeah,
beanpole. Like she's already like 5'9".
yeah. And so what's she about 3 years older?
Yeah, she's actually gonna take driver's ed next week or her test. So,
Oh, is she?
hmm
No, do they go to school in town or do they do like remote?
yeah, they're in an online school program.
Yeah, yeah, because
Hmm
you guys travel so much, it's kind of hard, especially with
Yeah,
it's a family business. You're not you can't just
yeah,
drop everything all the time.
yeah. So I mean, our the schooling program that they're on is like it's based around like motocross kids, basically like
Yeah,
professional athletes and like their kids. So it's cool too because when we go to like we're going to Oklahoma next week's race and for him and a lot of the kids that are in like her class and his class, they'll all be there. So they're all, friends and they're on class and like their teachers are still
yeah,
online. Like they have to get online and do all their virtual stuff and they have like
yeah.
goal meetings and all that stuff. So It's a great program. Like they have a senior prom at Loretta's at the motocross race,
Oh,
and
really nice.
hmm yeah.
That's that's good. Does your daughter, did she ever ride a bike? Or did
No.
she didn't
Mm, I tried.
yeah.
She's a horse girl. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah. So she loves horses. So she has two, and she wants to do rodeo. So
Oh, that's a
yeah.
daredevil kind of thing too, in a lot of ways.
To be honest with you, I'm all about it. Like
Yeah.
she was doing like English and Western pleasure. So for me, like her just trotting around a little sand arena, I was like, this is painful to watch kind of thing. So now we're going to be barrel racing, and she's been practicing roping and chasing calves and stuff. So
Yeah.
pretty awesome. Like more exciting, more adrenaline. It's great.
Yeah. And you're still jumping quite a bit. You know, as you said, you're still flying in the air a lot. What's the craziest thing you've done? Of course, to talk about the double backflip. What's your wildest jump?
I honestly don't do anything crazy wild. Like my whole goal is to go out and just entertain the people
Hmm.
that are there watching.
Yeah.
Um, so I parked the crazy stuff when I decided to take on the business side of it,
Yeah.
and that's the coolest part about it is like I don't have to do anything like really outside of my comfort zone. Like
Yeah.
the only thing that I'm interested in doing is entertaining those people that are, paid to come and watch, and that's the goal. So I have a lot of tricks that Gavin actually asked me now. He's like, "Dad, what's your favorite trick that you do?" And I have a couple, like, the Captain Morgan is the
I
crowd
love the
favorite because
Captain Morgan. Yeah.
it's relatable, right? So,
Yeah.
everybody sees it on TV. They know what it is. Like when you do a kiss of death, where you do a handstand on the bike, like you're just watching the stunt. But when you see like the pose and everything, people are like, I know that. And
Yeah.
so that's why I think it's a favorite for the crowd.
Yeah. I remember that. It seems like someone just debuted the Captain Morgan in Butte one year when it was the first time
Nick
I saw.
Dunn, yeah, one
Yeah.
of my good friends. He actually invented it. He and his girlfriend,
Because
she
that was a
actually
big
came up with
commercial
it.
at the time. Yeah. Everybody knew the
Yeah,
Captain Morgan.
yeah. So yeah, it's still one of the crowd favorites. I mean, everybody can be doing like the craziest flip tricks, everything, and then I'll do a Captain Morgan, and every time in my helmet, I can just hear the whole crowd just like go nuts over it.
Yeah. Well, and
Mhm.
I think one of the cool things about you too, even when you were in your hometown, you were humble enough, which is there's probably not a lot of guys running a business would be wanting to be upstaged by somebody do something more, extravagant than what you do. But you were humble enough that you just kind of let the guys go be the star of the show as well, and let them
Well,
shine.
that's you're only as good as the people you surround yourself around,
Yeah.
and that's been my motto since day one. And I don't have an ego, like to be honest with you. I am more than grateful in the life that I've been given to do what I do, and like all the people that I'm around, I'm more proud of like everything that they're doing more so than even say myself. Like even some of these kids that I have, like Montana kids, I got three of them right now that they just they make me so proud and how hard they work and trying to make me proud, which is super cool. So, um, and then on top of it, like all the big names and everything that I do, like I just want the biggest. I mean, even the Dream Big show. I mean, what I do and
Yeah.
bringing like all the people that I bring here for that one. I mean, the first year I went a little crazy and actually had to pay money out of my pocket to do it all. But
Yeah.
that's the whole part of like, what Keely and Colt are doing is, the dream big, and I wanted to put on the best show that I possibly could for my hometown.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's hard to even explain when you get a jump in your hometown.
Yeah. Do other people, they're probably got to be envious of that when they see you from Butte and what it's like to be from Butte and go back, like Colt. I don't think that works in every hometown where you get a guy that does that. There's something special about Butte, it seems like. And I bet you some of these guys think, man, I wish I was from Butte when they come here and they see the reception you guys get.
A lot of my friends will say that they
Yeah.
just can't believe how engaged they are, you know what I mean? And like all the kids and all the like still is, it like this year and last year the weather was kind of crappy, but still people come in out and they they love it. Like they really
Yeah.
do. It's hard to even explain. Like I feel like people in Butte are so proud of people in Butte,
Yeah.
and that's hard to come by.
Yeah, because even like when you were still just starting to make a little bit, your jersey would be like at the old sports arena. I remember it was up where
Mhm.
we first started our radio show. You had a
Yeah,
jersey up there, and and people really wanted to like. I got to know who this guy is. Didn't even know for sure what you did, but
yeah,
he's got a jersey and he's from Butte. He's got to be pretty awesome. So you see that in the way people followed Robbie Johnson when he played baseball
yeah.
in Colt, and with Tommy and Dylan Cook.
Dude,
Everybody.
I follow Tommy. Like I've
Yeah.
been like such a fan of that whole thing and seeing him, and it's just so cool to see people like on that stage and that
Yeah.
level, from such a small town. And like you're saying, you're naming off all these people that literally are from a town of 30,000 people that have all
Yeah.
done, I mean, amazing things. I mean, it's pretty wild.
Yeah. And of
Something in
course,
the water.
and we had a guy who shot Bin Laden too,
Yeah, yeah,
you know.
for sure.
Yeah, and he'll never be the most famous guy from his hometown, even though
I know.
he's pretty well known.
Yeah, you shoot the deadliest man in the world, like the yeah, and you're still not the most famous person. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people could say that. I mean, it's pretty
Yeah.
wild.
And another thing when you brought all these guys to town, when because you would every year, Evil Knievel Days, we'd get guys like, you'd bring them to the radio show and we talked to them. And I kind of got a new appreciation for Evil because I kind of grew up just taking it for granted that Evil Knievel's from Butte and he
Sure.
did all this stuff. But I remember just talking to some of these guys about Evil and what he inspired, what he meant to them, even though they weren't old enough to watch him jump. And then he talked about the jumps that he did. And I said, would you do that jump on his bike? And guys like Heath Frisbee, he's flipping a
Snowmobile.
snowmobile,
Hmm.
and he's doing crazy stuff like that. And I said, "Would you jump that jump to Knievel?" And he said, "Absolutely not, not on that bike."
No way. No, I mean that's the level, like our technology compared to what he has. Like he knew that he was going to crash, and
Yeah.
he accepted the fact that like the Caesar's Palace thing, like that crash and that video footage
Oh,
of
I don't know how he
him,
lived.
it is just mind-boggling to me. And and that's what I'm saying about the business side of it for him. Like he used to call stadiums and be like, "Oh, I heard Evil Knievel's going to jump there." Like he literally was
Yeah.
selling himself, and I was telling to some of my friends this the other day, like Twitch, I was actually explaining it to him, like, think about him having his own jet with his own name on it back in that day,
Yeah.
in those days, and then hiring another jet to take a photo of his jet with his name on the side of it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And like just next level, like I mean, social media influencer. Like
Yeah.
he was this like worldwide influencer, but had a dial-up phone.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you'd think, I think it was Howard Cosell called him the white Muhammad Ali. Because you think
Yeah,
about it, they were probably the two most well-known people in the world were Muhammad Ali and Evel Knievel at the time. More
I
people
I
knew him than the Pope.
I've never honestly heard of one person not knowing who Evel Knievel is.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he touches like still to this day, like his fan base of, I mean, probably little kids wouldn't know who he is, but
He's
of
in some of
his
those
time.
cartoons though. His name pops up on Disney shows. I watch it, with my
Yeah,
kids. And it's always on. It's insane. Like weekly, I hear his name on TV show, and it surprises me.
pretty wild. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty cool that he's from our hometown. And of course, Robbie was my guy when because I saw Robbie jump on the Fourth of July parade one year. It was back when it went down. You probably don't remember it going down Montana Street.
No.
But I stood in front of right around the Bonanza Freeze, and they had Jack Farrader's El Camino was pulling a ramp, and Robbie was driving up and down doing wheelies and stuff, and every once in a while they'd stop and hit that ramp and
And
jump
he'd
the El
jump it.
Camino.
No kidding.
Yeah, and I saw that thing and my eyes were just, like 50-cent pieces, man. I
And you
wasn't,
still remember it like it was yesterday.
yeah, I wrote, and I was Robbie Knievel for every time I was on my bike. And the cool thing
Yeah.
is during, I was in Matt and Alicia's wedding
Hmm.
back in '03, I think it was. And, that was back before I quit drinking. and I had a lot to drink that night, and probably about 5 or 6 of those beers were with Robbie talking about that day
Yeah.
because when I brought it up to him, he said, "Oh yeah, that was Ferreter's El Camino, and so did this and that, you know." And we talked and he's such a great guy. You know,
Yeah.
he was just a truly great guy in my book. But
Yeah.
it was so cool that I got to talk to him a bit. You know, it couldn't have been any better if I was talking to Walter Payton. You know, I was talking,
Right.
you know, it's pretty
Yep.
cool. But and imagine you probably got to know Robbie as well.
Yeah. I mean, a little bit. I actually saw him. Well, was it last year that he passed? It was the year
Yeah,
before.
last year or the year before, I can't. Yeah, might have been the year before.
I saw him right before we passed, actually, at
Yeah.
the Butte Country Club. He was in a turtle shell, like back brace,
Oh,
and
really?
yeah, like, but he was still going out to go play golf, and he was just stopped and BSing with me, asking how everything's going. Just nice,
Yeah.
humble, yeah, yep.
Yeah. No, you're pretty well known around town too. Do you get back into town much at all? You live out in the outskirts.
Yeah, I mean, we just moved out here. It's just it'll be a year. I think it was a year last month. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, we've owned this property out here for 14 years. So, um, it just worked out way better, like with cabin riding and stuff and having a
Yeah.
track and everything. So, but yeah, I mean, we come to Butte way too much, two
Yeah.
times a day, three times a day
Oh,
sometimes.
you're there quite a bit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Do people recognize you walking around,
Oh
say, "That's
yeah.
Keith Sayers"? You get,
Yeah, yeah, yesterday in Murdoch's, I mean, I stopped in the parking lot 4 times before I was even in the door. So,
oh, really? Well,
yeah,
that's
oh,
good.
yeah. And it's nice. I mean, I love it. It's nice to still be recognized by a lot of people, but yeah.
Yeah. So how long? Of course, you're 43. If you were a pitcher, you'd be pretty dang old. Quarterback, of course, Brady might have went to 45. I
It
think, you know, so how long do you think you got left in jumping?
just all depends on my health. Like, if I can keep staying healthy, like I don't really see. I mean, I'll start slow. I mean, even this year, I'll slow down. I've slowed down a little bit,
Yeah.
just to try and not miss out on this like window of my kid's life,
Yeah.
that's so valuable. That yeah. So that's kind of will be the. I mean, if I have my way, I'll still ride till I'm almost 50. Like if I can
Yeah.
still be doing backflips when I'm 50 years old, it'll be pretty sweet. And even if at that point, like if I'm just picking and choosing like some events here and there that I just go and ride,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm building a gym and staying on top of my health and staying in shape and everything. But like I don't really foresee anytime soon.
Yeah. And then, of course, you have the cred now built up. So even if you aren't old enough to jump, the guys are going to say, "Hey, that's Keith Sayers." You can be the promoter who stands there and tells them when they can
Yeah,
jump and when they can't jump, right?
and that's what I'm saying of like all these kids that I have that are riding for me, and I've kind of got a couple of me's, in the works. So
Yeah.
I'll keep promoting this side of it because like a lot of people just want to work with me, on the business end of it. So a lot of times I won't even go to shows. I'll just go, to my kid's motocross race, and like
Yeah.
I am pretty picky, and when it comes to Monster, I have to do every single one. Like the only one I didn't do this year was Harley Davidson Homecoming, but when Monster asked me to go places, like
Yeah.
I'm normally there no matter what. So
Yeah. And what they've been sponsoring you for a few years now, right?
yeah, so I've been doing all their events um since 2014. So this is 11 years now, and then I've been wearing a helmet for 4 years now.
Yeah.
So as an athlete,
So does that come with a lot of cases of Monster Energy drinks? Do you get at your
as
house?
much as I want.
Is it really?
Yeah.
So, that's pretty
Yeah,
awesome,
no,
man.
I send in. It's pretty cool actually. At first, they sent me a whole pallet. Like we're talking. I mean, I don't even know how many cases were on there to be honest with you. And I had them just stacked up, and I'm like, I kind of weed through. And to be honest with you, like when my friends come to town, I would go to the like golf course and like trade them to play golf for a case of Monster kind of thing.
Nice.
And then I ended up actually going to the police station. I gave him like 25 cases of Monster. I was like,
Oh,
just
nice.
knocked on the door and I'm like, hey, you guys want some Monster? And they were like, yeah.
Yeah, they got to work
So
graveyard shifts, right? Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I can get as much as I want when I want.
Wow.
It's pretty wild. Like, I just did the Miramar Air Force, or the air show
Hmm.
the past weekend. 3 days of shows, and they told me this morning in the email they handed out 58,000 cans of red Monster.
Wow.
58,000 cans, like
That's crazy.
that, just handing them out for free.
Yeah. Yeah, they
Hmm.
it well and they're the kids love them. I know my oldest is lives by those things, you know.
Yeah,
She has cases of them. You know,
yeah.
she orders them by the case, you know, to get through the day. So but
Well,
I'm
what's your favorite flavor?
I'm not even sure. I'll send you a text. Yeah, I'm trying to get that same deal with that you have with but with Mountain Dew so I can get that.
Oh,
But Scown won't come through for me, you know. He's the guy I got to see, I'm thinking.
yeah,
Well, Keith, I really appreciate your time. As I said, I'm a big fan. You know, I really
yeah.
appreciate that. It was kind of cool that I could point my son to a pretty awesome guy from Butte to
Well,
be,
thank you.
to be his hero when he was a kid. And even today, he'll be 18 in November. I said, "Hey, I'm talking to Keith Sayers tonight." He says, "Oh, that's pretty cool." You know,
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
he remembered, you know, so and was a good guy to point to, you know, great role
Well,
model, you know, so stuff.
thank
So
you.
I appreciate you doing that and what you do for Butte and the community.
Yeah,
So
I try my best to be the best role model I can, even, and that's like a lot of parents even will say that to me. They're like, you honestly make me, with everything that you do with your kids and what you put, like, I don't put things on like Facebook and Instagram that are, negative. Like, my whole thing in life is to bring people up and be positive. And
yeah,
there's so much negativity in the world nowadays. And like, you
it's
know,
easy to get down that hole. Yeah,
I mean, it really is, especially in this world that we live in today. So I've had a lot of parents that are like, people that'll actually send me a message and be like, "You make me want to be a better dad," and like, so those kind of things, like that's cool for me. That's means
yeah,
so much more to me than anything, to be honest. So
yeah. Well, and that's cool, and I'm glad you get to follow that little boy riding. That's got to be. There's nothing, you know. I watch my son play football for Butte High. There's nothing cooler than watching your son
no.
compete in a sport.
Proud, like, that's when everybody's like, oh, he's going to be better than you. I'm like, he already is better than me, and that is the whole goal, is for
Yeah,
him to be better than me. Like, I want both my children to do better than me. Like,
yeah,
that's the way that it's supposed to work. That means I did my job right.
yeah. Well, again, I appreciate your time. Thanks for joining me, and
Yeah,
and thanks for
absolutely.
everything you do.
Yeah, have a good day.